Ambassador, when a US ambassador, Sergio Gor in question, says there is quote-unquote agreement and quote-unquote commitment, is that standard diplomatic language or does it risk appearing as public pressure? If there was indeed a formal commitment from India on this front, ma'am, wouldn't such a shift typically be jointly announced rather than, stated unilaterally, that too at the Pax Silica, alliance?
Look, it's a gray area because the US has announced that India will stop buying Russian oil, but India has not confirmed that statement. In fact, it has kept a certain degree of ambiguity, saying that India takes its decisions on energy purchases in the national interest based on science and geopolitical developments and so on. So the fact is that India has reduced its purchases from Russia in recent months, and that's where the matter stands right now. So it's a little gray area, and going ahead, obviously the US has said it will monitor whether India will stop buying Russian oil, or if it starts again, it may reimpose tariffs. The point is, can they really hold India to a different standard than they hold all their other partners? Because none of the other countries who are major purchasers of Russian oil have been, slapped with punitive tariffs. So China is the largest buyer of Russian oil. They have not been slapped with any punitive tariffs. Then Europe, which has been the second largest buyer of oil and gas. It used to be the largest. And Europe has said it will end its purchases of Russian oil and gas by the end of January, by the end of the year 2026.
That's right.
And at the same time, oil and gas which flows through pipelines which are still operating will continue to flow. So again, it's a position where some energy will continue to flow from Russia to Europe. Turkey has been another major buyer and also one which has been exporting Russian oil outside. And again, no tariffs on Turkey.
But then, Ambassador,
to India, my sense is less about Russia than about, could I say, pushing US energy imports into India. Because India is going to be one of the largest growing energy markets in the future. And we had switched to buying Russian oil. Russian oil was not always available to us. Most Indians don't know this, that when we used to approach Russia for petroleum imports in the past, they were already committed to Europe for most of their sales, and then with the pipelines later to China. So they never actually agreed to sell us any oil. It's after the US and Europe put a squeeze on Russian oil exports to Europe that Russia began to look more seriously at India, and our imports from Russia increased. So it's not been, a fixed part of our energy basket in the past, but it has certainly helped us because prices of Russian oil were at a discount. And it helped us to reduce our energy costs at a very difficult time when energy prices were rising. And in fact, Europe has paid the price for reducing Russian oil imports, gas imports, and replacing them with Norwegian, US, or Gulf.
Those are all pertinent points, ma'am.